A grave racial injustice was committed against 13-year-old Christopher Kapesa when the British criminal justice system decided not to prosecute Jaden Pugh, a 14-year-old white boy, for unlawfully killing Christopher about 4 years ago, on the premise that it would not be in the public interest to prosecute Jaden. Let's get into it. This is 14-year-old Jaden. He's 19 now. When the British criminal justice system says not in the public interest, it is code to remind us that the system was not created to protect and serve black children like Christopher. It was created to protect and serve white children like Jaden. We know for a fact that if Christopher had been the one who had unlawfully killed Jaden, Christopher would have been adultified, criminalized, and incarcerated. But it's always a different standard when it comes to the white race. 4 years after unlawfully killing Christopher, the coroner has found that Jaden deliberately pushed Christopher into the river. But note the word prank here. The Crown Prosecution Service, the CPS, claims that race played no part in its decision-making, and that even though it confirmed it had grounds to bring charges of manslaughter against Jaden, they just decided that it would not be in the public interest to do so. Where have we seen this before? Christopher's mother was right to accuse South Wales Police and the CPS of institutional racism, and that a different standard was being applied when it came to the death and getting justice for the death of her son. But the word prank is doing a lot of heavy lifting here. The coroner referred to it as a dangerous prank. The CPS, in all of its decision-making, based it on a foolish prank. Do you know what foolish prank connotes? It's basically saying, oh my God, children will be children. It's so awful that this poor child died, but let's think of the white child. Prank is the litmus test to absolve white children of criminal behavior against black and ethnic minority children. It's nothing new, especially against black kids. It dates way back to the transatlantic slavery era, to the colonial era. We have seen it before. It's a white supremacist ideology mindset in which the criminal behavior of white children is reduced to, oh my goodness, it's just a foolish prank. While if there had been a black child that committed the same crime, they would have been adultified and treated as a criminal. Christopher's mother fought for justice. She sought a judicial review on the CPS's decision not to prosecute. It went to the High Court, and the High Court upheld the CPS's decision not to prosecute. In fact, these are the considerations they said they factored in when deciding the CPS was right. Let's look at it. The first one, the age of the suspect. So that's the age of Jaden, but not the age of the victim, Christopher. That there was a lack of premeditation. Jaden was not being accused of murder. It was of a lawful killing. Don't tell me that people cannot be prosecuted for killing simply because they did not premeditate it. That makes no sense. And then the lack of previous convictions or cautions. And the detrimental effect on the suspect's future. Not the permanent effect that Christopher will have no future, but let's think about Jaden's prospects in the future. And they added, and the unlikely nature of repeat offending. And you know this because he's unlikely to repeat because he's white. Do you know that these considerations will only make sense at the point of sentencing a perpetrator for the crime they've committed, but not at the point of whether or not to prosecute him? How is that lawful? How is that fair? How is that just? This is basically the British criminal justice system saying to Christopher's family, Christopher's life does not matter. Jaden Pugh's life matters more than Christopher's life. Christopher's mother has suffered. The British criminal justice system did not only fail Christopher, it failed his mother and his entire family. She has been put through a vicious cycle of going through his unlawful killing every single day because the British criminal justice system denies him justice. That is a grave racial injustice. Institutional racism cannot be untrained. It has to be eradicated.